Getting close to the end, and then we take turns just cutting each other off. Be like, yeah, so my daughter, be like, all right, bye. Boom.
You know when like someone's like, "What noise does a truck make?" and then you hang up and it's like beep beep beep.
Oh my God.
Have you ever done that?
Nuh-uh.
When you guys hang up the phone, what does it sound like?
It doesn't sound like anything. It just doesn't do it. You just look at your phone and it's gone.
Oh, see, back in the day in Australia, it was like beep beep beep. So we used to be like, "What noise does a truck make?" reversing, and then like hang up.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do that.
All right. So we got our video. It looks good. You got a fish tank behind you. You got any fish in there? You got any like crabs in there or something?
I've got axolotls.
What is that?
You know, like Mexican walking fish.
Mm-mm.
They're real cute. I was like, I'll grab one
Yeah,
out to
pick
like
one
show
up.
you, but like, yeah, but they're so cute. They've got like little like gill, like they're so cute,
If we put this in
and
the
they like just
podcast,
eat meat.
they eat meat.
Yeah,
Then you can't get one
yeah,
out
they
because it's
eat
going to
meat.
start eating your finger.
I wish I actually don't, because I've got that intrusive thought of like I'll just pull one out because like you can hold them for like a little bit and then put it back in the water, but don't, because I will probably do it.
It swims
But they're real
around.
cute. Yeah, they're so cute. They like sit down the bottom. Like they'll
Oh,
see that that's their like little, I don't know, that's their little like that's their cave. But they're on the other side at the moment. But they're cute as
yeah, I'm gonna have to
shit. They're
check that
so
out.
cute.
We'll have to put one in the podcast in case if we end up putting this on there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
All
cute.
right, well,
That's right.
let's try an intro. What are we gonna do?
Dun, 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 dun.
It's like a
That's the jingle
superhero
already,
theme.
man. Yeah, I know. It's like you have to do like that sort of, when the news presenters are sort of like,
Yes.
it's like, hi, today I'm
This just
Tahnee.
in from 2,000 years
Hang on a
ago,
second.
spiritual wisdom. It's brand new, breaking
Yeah,
news.
actually, I'm hearing it. News first. There's a shark attack first in Perth at the moment. Yep, cool. That's happened. And yep. Oh, he's cool. Is it a Care Bear?
Yeah, it's a Care Bear, but I don't know if you saw my other video. So this is
Yeah.
you did? Yeah, this is Dislike Bear. I won't focus on Dislike Bear till I get it. I call it Dislike Bear, but really it's Grumpy Bear because my whole thing is when I dislike what's happening, I'm unhappy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true, actually. Where'd you get it from?
GameStop.
What is GameStop?
Full disclosure, I'm an investor in GameStop, so no, I don't need to disclose that. But I'm not giving financial advice, but GameStop's a good investment.
What is
GameStop is
GameStop?
just like GameStop is the Blockbuster. Do you know what Blockbuster is? Where you can rent VHS tapes and you can take them back, but you better rewind them or else they're going to give you a penalty.
Hang on, wait. Do you still have that in America?
No, there's only one Blockbuster. It's like the original Blockbuster or something like that. It's just like for nostalgia.
Yeah, because like we literally had one up the road like I reckon it closed down like 10 years ago and everyone was like, no, not Blockbuster. It was such a big thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, hang on a second. Does America still have these? Okay, so Blockbuster, what? So now it's GameStop?
GameStop is like they sell like physical disc games, but pretty much everybody downloads their games. So now they're moving into collectibles and stuff like that. So anyway, that's a whole nother podcast episode, but that's interesting for sure with the
Do
manipulation
they
in the
have
market.
yeah. Do they have blind boxes and stuff?
Like what? You can open a pack and you don't know what you're going to get out of it?
Yeah, like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
They got
Like,
Pokemon. It's
I'm
like huge.
okay, I'm gonna look at it because we are like, I don't want to ever be like involved in this. Like, oh God, I feel like I've just been indoctrinated with it. Blind boxes to me, so good. I just got a Labubu. It's now my child. Do you know what a Labubu is?
Mm-mm.
Oh, hang on, wait. Wait.
I'm still recording.
Hang on, sorry. So this is, I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, kind of. Oh shit, that's scary as hell.
Yeah. So it's like a full-on collectible, but yeah, we've collected a lot of stuff. You just see Ellie's room, it's just covered in collectibles.
Yeah, the big
It's not good,
GameStop is big
but
into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so big at the moment here as well. It's such a Asian thing as well that I think everyone's like very obsessed with. But yeah, it's so big here.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe it would be big over there. So what you've got shares in it.
Right. Yeah. So basically, it's like, you know, it's supposed to be like manipulated. They sell shares that they don't actually own, like other companies, hedge funds and stuff. And then like they try to drive the price down to drive these companies out of business because they're like, well, this is the next blockbuster. So we might as well drive the company out of business and then we can make all this money. Well, so a bunch of people ended up buying it. So there's like 200,000 retail investors that
Oh
have
my
bought
God.
all these shares and stuff. And so like the price, they can't drive it down because now the company has like 5 billion in cash. It's debt free. Like they can't even drive it out of business because it doesn't owe any money and it has 5 billion in cash. So the investors are like, fuck you, hedge funds. So it's like this big battle going on right now.
Oh my God, that's so cool. I really need to start getting into it, but like to me, it's like rocket science. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't like, I literally have just like one share at the moment, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, you're not making me any money. Do I get rid of it?
It's like your lazy like house husband who just sits there. You're like, I have no dividends. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You just like I could have used you for something else.
Literally, I'm just like, you're useless. Like, what are we doing? I
Yeah.
know we've got like an app where it's sort of like it will round up like your order rounds, and then it goes into like obviously like our market within Australia, and like all the time Chris is like, just go moderate, Tahnee, just go moderate in it, and I'm always like aggressive, like let's go, let's get the best back, and he's like, you're gonna lose like so much, and I'm like, aggressive, let's go, and
Yeah.
every time I say, I'm like, oh, I lost a lot that month, sort of thing, and it really annoys me, but I'm like, fuck it, send it, right?
It's all your roundups. So it's like every month
Yeah,
you're like, I go
literally.
so aggressive that like one month I made $100. The other month I lost $1,000.
Literally. And I'm like, oh, it swings and roundabouts. I'm not good with money. I'm really not good with money. And that's like a really like downfall of me as a person. But like, I just don't value money in any sense. And I see it of like a sense of that, it will always be abundant to me. So therefore, I'm just like, fuck it. Like, this makes me happy for the time being. Like, and it's such a bad mindset because honestly, like, Chris is like, pulls his hair out sometimes. I'm not a big spender, but I'm also just like, oh, fuck it, let's do it. Like, let's just get this or get that sort of thing. So I'm like, rein it in, Tony. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need this shit.
So we are the
It's the
complete
hardest bit.
opposites then. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
we have X amount in our savings account. That's never going to be good enough. We need more in the savings account. It's like, do we? So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's money's funny, but yeah, I think if it's not a problem for you that you're bad with money, like if there's no suffering in it, then what's the problem? However, just like I feel like all of our decisions, it's like what seems best, but also like what seems best for the future too. So like right now it seems like, oh good, I can just work and make more money. However, if your back goes out and you got a metal rod in there, and you can't even do your work, then it's like, well, I guess I should have saved up some money. It's like the ant and the grasshopper story.
Yeah, exactly. That's the scariest bit, isn't it? Like, you're just like, am I doing this for future me or am I doing this for just like right now?
Yeah, and
Like,
then
it's just like
balancing
that
that.
whole, yeah, literally. I know, because I'm like, fuck it, we're probably gonna die tomorrow. There's gonna be like a nuclear war. Like, we're all fucked. I actually did see this thing though, and I was like, oh, we're fine. Apparently, like, if there was a nuclear war, apparently Perth and like New Zealand of like this down above is like the one place that would literally survive all of it. And I was like, okay,
Why?
we're sweet. Because apparently if there was like a nuclear explosion or explosions, it wouldn't hit us because we're so far away from like anywhere else.
Oh, cause so it's like you guys aren't causing any trouble. It's like they're gonna bomb China. They're
Yeah,
gonna
well,
bomb all these other countries, and you guys are just down here too far away from it all.
just living our best lives really. But
Damn.
then it's like we would like suffer from it and we would suffer from like growing, food and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, we're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to like have an option B of just,
Right. Keep one bullet. Keep one bullet saved for yourself. I think that's the
Yeah,
thing, you
literally.
know. Somebody was saying it's like if you climb to the top of a flagpole, which I don't think that's true. I mean, who's climbing to the top of a flagpole to kill themselves? Like you're probably gonna fall off and kill yourself. You know, it's like, well, there's no bullet up here. I might as well jump. But I think if you dig
Yeah.
under the flagpole or something, there's supposed to be like a bullet in there, so that way you can save the flag and then kill yourself. Which I feel like I don't have that story right because it doesn't even make sense.
I'm like, what?
Was
Is
it a
this a real
dream?
thing? Like within a flagpole? Hang on, within a flagpole, there's supposed to be a bullet.
Right. You save it for
Is
yourself.
there?
I don't know. I feel like I must have had a
But
dream about this. I
oh
gotta
my
look
god,
it up.
that's so good. In my head, I'm like, hang on a sec. I'm gonna look it up now because I'm like, okay, so obviously there's like a bullet in the flagpole that I'm gonna search for when it's like flailing winds, and I'm like just trying to hold on and be like, okay, that's fine, but that's cool. Now I'm gonna be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna look for this
Right.
bullet. What the hell?
I don't know because
Is this a thing?
if you shoot yourself, then your flag is still there. Like you didn't really protect the flag. You know what I mean? Because the people just come and get the flag. And why is the flag so important
Oh,
anyway? It's just weird.
okay. So it's like a weird sort of like analogy that's not actually a real thing.
We don't know yet.
I was
We
gonna
got to
start.
look it up. Well, if we put this on the podcast, definitely need to update the people because they're going to be like digging up flagpoles and stuff. That's not going to be good.
That's so weird. I love those things though, where you're just like, is this a real thing? And then you Google it and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and it
It
is.
is.
Like in
That's so
Massachusetts,
bizarre.
there's a state, you know, nearby us, Massachusetts, and supposedly it was a law that you can't walk around with an ice cream cone in your pocket. And we're like, what? Is this real? So then we were going to go get some ice cream cones from the store, go to the police station with ice cream cones in our pockets to see if they did anything to us.
Oh
But
my God, that's so good.
yeah,
I love that though. When we went to Singapore, like apparently you can't chew gum there. And I remember like getting into the airport and I like literally put some gum in my mouth and like Chris swatted it off. And he was like, what are you doing? I was like, what? And he was like, you can't chew gum here. Like you could go to jail. And I was like, oh fuck, where do I put it? And I was like, where's the bin? Like panicking. But I'm like, are they that strict? Like it was such a weird thing.
that's weird. Because what if you're
Yeah,
just
so
eating?
I
Like,
know.
it's not, no, it's not gum. It was a French fry.
It's really chewy
Yeah.
for like 10 hours, but you know, it's nice. I looked at that video that you just sent about, is it Rupert? What's his
Yeah.
name?
Rupert
Rupert?
Spira.
Yeah, and I just had a big chat to Chris about it because there was just like such a like nice thing about how he spoke about, like I love the part where you know the Scottish guy that was speaking about it and he was like you've just like made it so easy for me because this is a sentence that I've needed my whole life. And then he talks about being like, it's not crystals or dainties. It's just like, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like showing it to Chris because Chris is so black and white and I'm just so airy fairy. And I was like, this is, I feel like what you needed to hear because I remember like going through whatever I went through and I was just like, you need to do the work. You need to have more understanding. Yet he ended up being my greatest teacher in all of it because I was like, oh, he does get the concept of it all. He just sees it so differently. But when I watched that, it was so nice to see like the polarity between it because I think a lot of people will obviously like hear a lot of like airy fairy sort of like spiritual people and they're like, you're speaking tongues to me. And then there's these people that are very black and white. So I'm going to keep on watching that Rupert guy. What's his name again? Sorry, Rupert.
Spira. Spira.
All right.
So he kind of pisses me off. Not really, but you know, it's like I go to his stuff and it's like it's almost like it's a cycle. So I go back to his stuff. I'm like, damn, it was Rupert the whole time, you know. And I'm over here searching all this other stuff, stoicism and just these different, you know, methodologies. And
Yeah.
I go back to Rupert. I'm like, damn, it was him, you know. But then I'm like, it's not that easy because in this video actually does such a good job. We'll have to remember to put it in the description, but this video does such a good job of pointing to the desires and the aversions that really cause the problem. Because I think what the guy was saying in the video, do you remember what he said when he was like, oh, it's just one sentence that you said to me?
I've forgotten it now, but honestly, yeah, don't worry, I'm Dory. It's like in and out, like it's just like la la la. I was like, that was great 10 seconds ago.
It's going to
It did
change my
resonate with
life.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. But there was, yeah, there's one, I'll put it up. I'll put it up, of like his thing, and it was like, if I could get one sentence of my whole life that would just make it so easier to like flow into this. And I was like, oh, that's the juice.
I
It's
thought it was
just
good
like the
too.
good stuff. Yeah. And like I love it as well because I don't know, I just relate so much with, I just love a good Scottish accent as well. Because sometimes I feel like a good Scottish, sorry, I'm having like speaking in tongues, a good Scottish accent has this almost like real roots, real sort of like earth sort of person that doesn't see a lot of things in like the ether. So when you have someone, and he just looks like just a normal guy just speaking about it, but I'm like, yes, I'm listening, because it just is just like a normal, typical guy,
Yeah. That's what
which
I
I
think
love.
with your accent. I think with your accent it's kind of like that. You get that little bonus for free. It's like, oh, she's Australian. Like, check it out. So cool. I think that's the same
Do
way.
you think I sound like an idiot though? Because sometimes I'm like, are deranged,
No, I
you
really
know, like,
don't. And that's why when you say
oh,
stuff like that, I'm just like, I was talking to my wife about that yesterday. We were walking because it was finally like 67 degrees, which, sorry, I don't know how to do the conversion, but it's actually pretty warm, but not really that warm. So I was telling her, I'm like, man, Tahnee says these things like, oh, I say like too much, or I, turn the conversation and I talk about my own life, like I bring it back to my own life. And I'm thinking like, what's wrong with that? Like, why is that? Like, here I am saying like so much right now, but I was telling my wife that, hearing you say that made me think about my own stuff as much as I beat myself up about like, oh, I say right too much, or, I do all these things. And it's like, yeah, you do those things. Like that's just kind of, how your conditioning has manifested. But like you're seeing those things as a problem, and that's why they are. But most likely, unless you're interrupting people, I don't think people are really seeing that. It's just like, oh yeah, that's Tahnee. She says like a lot. Like, oh yeah, they're not probably even really thinking about it on the level that you're, maybe criticizing yourself. So I had compassion for you, but at the same time, I was also like, damn, I do that shit to myself all the time.
yeah, that's the hardest bit as well. Like I put this like post up on Instagram, again, talking about myself, but like I don't mean it in a sense of like, let me talk about myself. I think the way my brain works, when someone says something or, will speak, I instantly, and I know instantly, my brain is trying to relate to that, and it finds, a part of my brain of an experience to also to relate to that thing. And some people can take it as complete criticism of like, well, complete, being offended of like, oh my god, she wasn't listening to me, she just wants to speak about herself. And it's like, it's not, it's me like sitting here being like, I also relate, here is my bit of my little world of, how I relate to this. And it's so hard because some people are fully like, yes, this is amazing, we're relating, and other people are like, oh, shut the fuck
Yeah.
up, like this isn't about you. So I'm so conscious of it, but again, I just feel like I have got this brain like, me too, can I tell you my story as well, because we're relating and we're having this bond together, and like that's me to relate, that's me of a person being like, hey, you've got this, let's come together, and we've also got the same things. So it's hard because, yeah, again, I just feel like we live in a world where everyone just judges everyone based on, who they are as people. But I think if this week has shown me anything, it's just that, like, you just need to keep on showing up as yourself, because there's only one you.
Yeah.
You could be annoying as well.
Yeah. And the annoyance lies in that other person. Obviously, we want to find out, like, do the majority of people in my life find me annoying? And do I value those relationships? So maybe it makes sense to figure out why I do these things that are annoying to them. And does it make sense to take a look at, like, should I probably stop doing these things? I think that's helpful. But I do think it comes
Yeah.
back to that. What is it? SW, 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 SW. So it's like some will, some won't. So what? And someone's waiting. So, yeah, man, yeah. I just been so much focused on um, finding out who I am, seeing my own conditioning, letting that shine, and then seeing who shows up for that. Because some people are going to be turned off. They're like, this guy is a goofball. Like, I don't want anything to do with him. okay, that's cool. But like if I'm always trying to fit in, if I'm always trying to be liked, then no one ever actually gets to know me, and then I need to hide away and create this pretend version of myself. And that whole thing is just like off track. Like the whole thing is off track. And then I'm not living the life I want. I'm not having fun because I've got so much anxiety about, it's like almost like that saying where it's like once you first deceive, you practice, it's like once you first lie about it, like you need to keep this lie going. And it's like this whole web of lies that you need to maintain. And it's like, I just can't do that. That's exhausting.
Oh, I've been obsessed with this whole Australian TikTok thing at the moment. And it's like one guy who's completely just been this other person, and he like told everyone he was a twin, but he's not a twin. It's actually him, and he's been like editing photos of him together in different clothes, and like one person knows him as a twin and the other person doesn't, and like it's too. And I was like, how can you keep this up? How can you keep up this whole just like web and mask that isn't yourself? And I think if you can authentically show up, and that's in whatever form you want to show up as, if you can authentically show up as your purest self, like you've won. You've hit everything on the head in terms of, a life experience, because you're not pretending anymore. There's nothing to, cover up. So that's why I'm like, if you can lead with authenticity, then you've won.
Yeah. Do you think that's contentment? You think that foundation there is contentment?
Yeah, yeah, truly, because I think there is so much of me that I'm like, oh, I don't like that I do this, and I don't like that I do that. And then if I can still lead with the things that I don't like what I'm about, but lead it as who I am, then I feel like to a degree that truly is just like the right pace in terms of a human experience of just being who you are, who this little soul's, encapsulated within this, human vessel, body, skin suit. That's who it is.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing. I'm like, okay, maybe my soul just wanted to experience a human skin suit that says like and do a lot. Like maybe they just were like, yeah, I want that. I want that for me.
Yeah. Well, seemed like you got excited when we started chatting about conditioning. And for me, you saying like a lot or not saying like a lot or whatever you do is just seeing your conditioning just play out, right? It's just the manifestation of everything that you've learned, how you developed, the people you were around, the TV shows that you watch. It's like all those things go into the pot and they get stirred up, and then this is who shows up. So what are your thoughts on conditioning, and what's your understanding of it?
Oh, there's so much to it. But I feel like I think of this all the time, and I remember like I love a lot of poetry, so I love like, reading poetry. But there was this one poem, and I'll get it and I'll put it up, but it's called The Mosaics, the people that you know. So, but like, so you as a person have, it's a way better poem than it, but it's like you will become a mosaic of the people that, you surround yourself with. And in the poem, it's like, the reason why I eat avocado is because, in high school, one guy really liked avocado and I hated it, but I decided that I was going to like it. And I always go back to this poem because I always think about like who I am as a person is just such a like vast vat of, the people who have influenced me. And, there's like a funny little thing of, I was obsessed with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a kid, like obsessed, like could not get enough, that I now like make sure that all of my pizzas have anchovies because they had anchovies, like, and that became my conditioning of like, yeah, you're gonna like this, and like I can't not have it because it's just like this is who I am as a person. the music I listen to are influences of, the people that I've been around. Who I am as a person is influenced so hardly on, who I am, who I've been around. And it's all these little pockets of people. And, I don't think conditioning should be bad as such. I think you unbecome and become, throughout your life. But I don't think conditioning's a bad thing. Like, if you see it as bad, of like, oh, this is, I've been conditioned to, X, Y, and Z, that's cool. But when you have your own free flow of like thoughts of like, oh, I don't actually have to do that anymore, that's when the freedom comes in.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about you?
I
How do
think
you?
I think it ties in nicely with the whole idea of free will, and people they get so fired up about free will. Like, do we have it? Do we not? Like, I'm in control. I'm not just going to sit on my couch and do nothing, if I don't have free will. So for me, it's like, it's not really, the conversation is not really about free will. It's just about like, because for me, free will is more like, you can't make me hold a certain opinion. You can't make me do it. Even if you have a gun to my head and you say, you better believe that, it's night right now. I look outside and it looks like day. So I can't even make myself believe that, so you can't make me believe it.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like, I have free will because nobody outside of me, outside of my system, can choose for me. But I think people get confused about free will. It's like, you can't just drop the way that things look to you and then all of a sudden start acting another way, because you have all this, I call it your programming, which for me is your biology and your conditioning together. And it results in all of your actions. So you brought up about conditioning being bad. And, I was thinking about this the other day, is like, what makes something bad or good? And I was thinking, it's not really like the thing itself. So, a gun is not good or bad. It's just like how you use it. You could defend somebody and then the gun is good. If you could murder somebody and then the gun is bad. So yeah, as far as conditioning goes, I feel like if we're judging our conditioning as bad, like saying like or saying right all the time, we're judging that negatively because it's always because of something. It's always because of some outcome. It's like, I don't want people to think I'm dumb, or I don't want people to find me annoying. So yeah, I feel like digging for those desires to see like, okay, does this behavior make sense or does it not make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, let me kind of see why I do the things that I do. And I need to see it differently. Like Epictetus says, a Stoic philosopher, he says, once we see differently, then we'll act differently. So the reason somebody's doing what they're doing is because that seems best to them. That seems like what is right. And if they can see it differently, like, oh yeah, I don't know why I did it like that, but that was not a good idea. They're going to act differently in the future. And I feel like that's the software update. That's how our conditioning changes.
Yeah, it's almost like the unbecoming. And I love that word, the unbecoming, because I think we've become so many things, within our life, within our human life, how we've been brought up. It's almost like those that are going through where they're starting to question things, it's the unbecoming of like, well, I did become that, but now my thoughts have changed, so I'm unbecoming. I'm unbecoming of those thoughts, or, how I presented my way of who I was in life. I keep on always going back to like, yeah, you're unbecoming. Like that in your head or, within your life became something so real that now you've started to question that, to be like, oh, I've unbecome that. And then you sort of like drop down and you're like, okay, there's also like another conditioning. It's like, oh, but I've unbecome that. And then you go down. I'm always just like, okay, we're just going to keep on unfolding. We're going to keep on unfolding of like, why do you do those things that you do? Like, is this good for you? Is this something that's, enriching your life? If not, like, let's question it. Let's try and work it out. There's so much to it.
Yeah, it's like the onion, so it has layers. In the coaching program I did, which is the 3 principles, they kind of wake you up to seeing that you're not upset because of the things that happen in the world. And Stoicism says the same thing. You're not upset because of the things that happen in the world. You're upset because the way that your mind judges it, the way your mind is viewing this situation. It's like, you don't like this because you had ideas about how it should go, but really you had ideas about how you wanted it to go. You had desires, or you had aversions, which are, basically it's your likes and your dislikes, or your fears and your wants. Um, so those things get in the way of that, and I think that's what that Rupert video did a good job of pointing to, is like, once you stop seeking or resisting, it's not like life got better. It's like life was always good. It's just that you're not seeing it as a problem anymore because you're not really having an idea about how things should unfold. Like you show up here and you say whatever you say, you know, it's like if I'm upset about something, it's like I already had an idea of how it should go or how you should behave. And those expectations that we have are the things that are tripping us up in the first place. So yeah, I've really been starting to kind of take a peek at my desires. Why am I working so hard at this? This thing is causing me stress. What is it about this that feels so important that I need to get so wrapped up and amped up about this?
Yeah, exactly. It's that attachment as well, don't you think? There's that attachment when you attach to an idea or, concept behind the reasons why you do the things that you do. The attachment there is that's the potent thing of like, why are we attaching to this? Are we attaching to this because this is like serving us? Or are we attaching to this is because like that's what we're supposed to be doing? Again, it goes back to that conditioning. What are we doing? Like, is this just like an autopilot, where we're not feeling good about this? Or are we doing this because like this is something that we truly desire?
Right. And then if you follow it back even further, I feel like there's the whole, like, what is conditioning? It's like, just like with my dog. I'm convinced my dog only wants to go outside, not because it has to go to the bathroom, because it knows when it comes in, it's going to get a little carrot or a green bean. So it's like, hey, let's do that outside thing again because I'd like another snack. And I learned in psychology that you have to you can't give it a repeated, um, what is it, a reward. You can't give it a repeated reward. You have to, sometimes it comes in and it doesn't get a snack. Sometimes it comes in and it does get a snack. So it doesn't know what the behavior is. So I think that's the same for us. It's like,
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
the pleasure principle. Are you familiar with the pleasure principle?
No, but please enlighten me because I
Yeah.
want to hear it from your words. Because I'm like, yeah, but like I know it from my perspective. So like, tell me your perspective.
Right. Yeah, I don't even know the actual like technical, but basically it's like everything we do is to avoid pain is probably the primary one, and then seek pleasure. But those things are both like two sides of the same coin, right? Because like it's pleasurable to avoid pain. Um, so in my mind, that's all we're ever doing is doing what seems best, and what seems best is what's going to benefit, what's going to give us the net benefit, what's going to benefit us the most. And I feel like based on that, as we go through life, as we have interactions with other people, as somebody scolds us for something that we do, right? It's like, oh, that didn't feel good. I don't want to do that again because that person, was upset with me, and I don't like that they're upset with me. So then that behavior gets learned, and it's like, oh, now I'm a people pleaser. Somebody asks me, hey, do you want to do this? And I automatically say yes because I don't want them to be upset with me. And it's like you can almost follow that back and see how that whole thing came about.
Yeah, exactly. That's what scares me as well about, who I was as a child as to now. Like it really scares me of like who's had this effect on me to be able to like be like, all right, well, I've obviously people pleased for them. Were they holding it over my head, being like, I won't be your friend if you don't do this, and that becomes a conditioning in itself that I'm like so scared of being like, maybe I'm a people pleaser, maybe I am a people pleaser to so many people, but like I don't know it until I know it, until I get burnt, and therefore that experience in itself is like, all right, I won't do that again. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like a, all right, okay, I've learnt from that, but I don't think many people are really like, oh, hang on a second, this really hurts me. Like this is like, this isn't pleasurable. This hurts me. but they would continue to do it to seek out the pleasure because they don't know to say like no is the end of their suffering. That's what I'm like, you don't need to go through this again. You've already learnt this. And again, it's like, I'm also going through this. So it's like, I'm not yelling at people, but I'm also like, I'm also going through the same thing. Like, we don't have to do this, guys.
Yeah.
It's like crazy eyes, just like looking in with people like,
Yeah. So what do we do? I mean, what do we do to get that? What do people need to do to, I guess, get on board with? I mean, yeah. So how do you take somebody from zero, right? They're just in the matrix, running around, doing whatever. Their little animal brain, the little reptilian brain is just doing whatever, trying to look for little snacks. You know, getting little rewards from people. How do you? Because that process seems that's just natural. That's just what's happening. So what becomes the problem for people that they start looking into? Is it the suffering piece? What is it? What's the whole thing that people get into this to get started with anyway? If that even makes sense. I feel like I'm not asking a real question.
nah, I think I'm gonna like give my best response in my way that like my brain's taken it. But do you feel like there's people within your life, and obviously like people on social media, there's people, within everywhere. Everyone seems to have gone through like a really fucked up life thing. Like it could be cancer, it could be, terminal illness, it could be losing someone. It could be something so fucked up for them to realize that like this shit doesn't matter. And like that's the thing that really fucks me off is that it takes something so fucked up for like those people to go, hang on a second, this is fucked. Like, why are we doing this? Like, I wish there was an awakening for, Joe Blow and like these people who are just constantly suffering of like, we don't have to suffer, guys. Like, we don't, this can be good. Like, this can be a fun time. It just takes someone to like the depths of hell for them to realize it. And that's also so like, I had it, like I went through my hardest time for me to be like, actually, hang on a second, like I'm gonna like rewire my brain here. This isn't healthy. But again, like I just don't think if someone's like on that little hamster wheel just constantly rolling and you're in being like, hey, do you wanna excuse me, do you wanna hear about Jesus? He'd be like, get fucked.
Yep.
I'm fucking running here. Like you can't what is it? You can't stop progress. So therefore it's like they're progressing at their own rate. You can't be this person to intervene, be like, hey, have you checked on your insurance lately? You should probably have a look at. Do you mean like you can't? Like it's just everyone's doing what they're doing. I
Yeah.
think you just have to show up as you and hope that what you say is like, okay, I see it differently now.
Right. Yeah, and then also we can't have expectations on anything either, right? It's like the Zen master who is raining on the rock. It's like, I mean, nothing's gonna happen here. But you know what? I was just thinking the guy in that video when he's like that one thing you said changed my life. He was like, where do you feel happiness? You feel happiness on the inside. You don't feel happiness on the outside. So, and I was like, damn, I don't know. So I wonder if that for people could wake them up to like, you feel happiness on the inside. So it's an inside job. So these things out here that you think are bringing you happiness are not really bringing you happiness. It's your mind judging whether they're good or bad that brings that pleasure to you. Did you get any insights on that when he had made that statement?
Yeah, there's like so much to it because I feel like I had this like huge thought about when he said that about the happiness, it comes from you inside, it doesn't come from externally. So like my whole life, right, I feel like I've literally just clung on and been like, this is going to be a great time. This is like I'd go to parties and I'd go concerts or that and spend time with people and trips away, and I was like, this is going to be amazing, this is going to be amazing. And then they weren't amazing. And I was like so disappointed and so just like, this is fucked. Like I just had the shittest time. And I think it took so long, and I honestly think this is embarrassing. I'm what now, 36. I reckon it took me to 34 years old to realize I was the happiness. So what I would bring in to these occasions or events, I was the fun. And this is so much of like, my family are so batshit boring, and I was always like, I'm in such a boring family sort of thing. And then I think a few years ago we started doing bombies in my mum's pool, and I was just like, I went in, Ellie went in, Chris went in. My mum did a bommy, like, you know, a bommy as in like going in the pool and like, maybe it's an Australian term, you know, like a bommy where like you like grab your
Cannonball.
legs in and you like cannonball. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Um, and and then my nan, who's like, I don't know, like 76 at the time, she ran and jumped and did a bommy in as well. And she's like never done something like that. And I think we were all in shock. But then I think I walked away from the situation being like, you lead with fun. Like, you can create the fun. And I walked away from being like, that was such a fun time. And then it was like, no, 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 but you created that. You created that fun. You could sit there from afar and be like, my family is so boring. They're not great, sort of thing. Or, you know, they're just boring as dog shit. Or you could just sit there and be like, let's bring the fun. Like, and literally just send it as like something so different to create a reality of being like, yes. And apparently, because my nan's got dementia now, apparently my nan doesn't remember who I am as a person, but she says, Ken, you had the people that we had the fun time with in the pool. So we're the
Damn.
fun time people. So I'm like, okay, there is creation in just creating your own fun, creating your own good time. You just have to do it yourself. You can't expect anyone else to make that fun for you
Yeah.
or amazing. It's your experience.
That's an amazing story. Yeah, I feel like just by hanging out with you, I mean, we've been chatting for a month or so. I don't probably month and a half, something
I
like that.
think
But
so.
I feel more alive. I feel more free to just be wild and goofy and silly, even around people I don't know. Whereas before, I feel like I was a little bit like, stiff around the edges and, stuff like that. So yeah, I do think that's such a big deal. And sometimes, because that story could have gone differently. It's like you're jumping in the pool and everybody else is like annoyed that you're jumping in the pool. But, it's like you could still have a good experience doing that, even if other people are not, because it's like we got to detach from how everybody else sees stuff. We can't, I can't make my happiness contingent upon if other people decide to join in with what I'm doing, or even, I can't be happy if other people are annoyed with me. It's like, well, they're going to be annoyed with me or they're not going to be annoyed with me, but I want to be happy either way. Like I know that. So following back the causes of my unhappiness is like, I just need to start disconnecting from a lot of these things so that I can just enjoy life all the time. Like all the time. Like we were joking about, you had talked about shark attacks and stuff. And then I was talking about how no matter what we talk on the podcast, it's got to be, you know, we might want to make it topic plus happiness. So we were saying how to maximize your happiness while being attacked by a shark. So I don't know if that's possible, but I do feel like for me that's the goal. And if you follow the pleasure principle back, it's like that's what we all want anyway. So knowing that and keeping that in mind, it gives us a direction. It gives us a North Star. It's like, that's what I want. That's why I'm doing everything. That's why I have this job, so I can earn money, so we can have a house, so we can take vacations, so we can create this life, all back to pleasure. So let me figure out what causes me displeasure, dissatisfaction, discontentment. Why am I not content with the way that the world is? Let me fix that. And now I'm living more and more from a place of contentment. It seems so easy said like that, but I just don't know why it's so hard for some people.
I think it's hard as like a human race. I really do. I just think that we are so plugged into, everything that's going on and we're being distracted. I just think it's so hard for us to fall back to our inner child. And like I say inner child in a sense of like, an inner child for me is just like the essence of your happiness. Like it's the things that make you so happy and lit up, and it's not even like in a childlike state, but it's just like what makes you happy at the time, you know. There's like so many things that like I love that my daughter teaches me, so many beautiful lessons, and like I love at the moment because, you know, I've really just tried to feed it in of like if she's feeling dysregulated, you know, it's like, okay, well, there's an emotion that's being felt right now. Like, how are we channeling this? Like, are we angry? Are we going to go smash a pillow? We're going to punch a pillow? We're going to scream into a pillow? Do you want to go into the car? Like, when we drive, it's like, you can scream as loud as you can, like, get it out. Like, how do you want to channel this? Are we angry? Are we just like wanting to dance it out? And like, Ellie is just such a like musical being. So we put on like, because I love Cher so much. Like, she's just the essence of everything. And now Ellie likes Cher, so we had like Cher on yesterday, and it was like we were both like singing, like dancing, and like we were doing it for so long. But I was like, this is so good for her. This is so good for her to know that like her mum will just go to a childlike state instantly. Like, it's not like, oh no, I've got to do this. It's like I will instantly drop everything to be like, all right, I'm here with you. Like, let's go through it. I can keep doing my little things that I'm doing, but it's just always letting her know that she can always go back to this like state of just like pure happiness if she wants to, and just like get out whatever she needs to get out. I think that's just like my soundtrack for life, is just dance hard.
Yeah.
Go put a song on and just dance so hard. And honestly, I swear to God, you will not walk away from that being like, well, that was shit. You walk away from that being like, I'm going to put this song on. Just like,
Yeah. I was
it's
just
good.
playing golf with my sister-in-law last night on the VR. You have a MetaQuest VR, by the way, headset?
No.
Oh, because
Again, we live under a rock.
I was thinking that would be fun if we got on, did a podcast, we put our mics on and we just played a round of golf and then put that up as the video as we were talking about everything we're talking about. That'd be
That's
hilarious.
so good.
Um,
Do you have to wear like the proper like
yep,
things?
it's amazing. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's so cool. I'd love to do something like that.
Yeah. So
I've just got like, sorry, you go.
no, that's fine. That's fine. You're trying to dance. I'm trying to get back to business. It's hilarious.
No, I was like, I'm just about to play like Snake on my phone. That's probably like as high tech as, you know, I've got
That's your
with my
virtual
games.
reality. Yeah. So we were playing on this level, and it looked like you know, Olympus. So I guess that's where the Greek gods live. And I was like, man, I remember, in school and stuff being so enamored by the idea of Greek gods, and just I was like, man, I'd like to learn more about these and study it. And I was telling her about like I really wouldn't sit down to do that, even though it seems interesting, because like there's so many other things that seem more important to do. And I think bringing it back to desires, it's like the more things that I want, the more I'm trying to steer life in a certain direction, the less I can just turn on share and just have a dance party, because it's like, well, yeah, that doesn't seem that important because I really need to get this work done on the website, or I need to edit my podcast videos. And it's like I'm now starting to see the relationship, and I wonder too if you think it's as kids grow up, they start having more wishes. They start having more wants. And like as these wants increase, like your level of happiness, your level of peace decreases because you have so much on how you want things to work out a certain way. And the more you want things to work out a certain way, the more times it's not going to happen. Whereas like a kid is like running through the living room and they don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? They trip and they fall and they cry for a minute and then they get back up and they play. It's like they don't really have these expectations. They're more living in the present and just seeing how life plays out rather than like trying to predict how things are and then being disappointed because it didn't go the way that they guessed that it would go.
Yeah, that's so true actually. There's so much of that, especially like with the kids nowadays, that I find that like Ellie's like always trying to like get a like app on her phone, and like I'm trying to teach her how to do like digital art, like Procreate. So you've got like different like textures and paints and stuff. And then she's been watching YouTube, and it's like, oh, but I can do Procreate, and then I can also get these other apps to make me better in, these other things. And I'm just like, no, 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 no. Like, you're getting distracted. Like, let's just focus on the game. But that in itself is just like a life lesson, because everyone's like that, don't you reckon? Like, you just want to get all this information. You want to learn about this, and you want to read this book, and you want to watch this thing. And it's like, you're all in a bit of a fuzz, because it's like you could just have to focus on the things that like you truly, truly want to do, rather than it being like, oh, but I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this. Like, that in itself, it's like the distraction, the fuzziness. Like, you just have to get down to like the core of like, what do you want to do? Like, where do you want to go? Like, if you could see yourself in 3 months' time, what do you want to learn about? Where do you want to progress? I'm just trying to think of it in that sense, because I'm literally like, Chris calls me like, oh, piece of candy, because I'm so distracted all the time. I'm always just like, oh, what about this? What about this? And I'm always just like, shut up, Tahnee. Just get to the nitty gritty of just like, this is what you want to do. So I'm just trying to put my goals into place of like, this is what I want to learn. And I'm trying to do it with Els of like, okay, but what do you want to do? Like, she's learning guitar at the moment, and it's like, okay, but like, where do we want to get to? So it's like just trying to really narrow down the needs or the wants, and also like, what will give you the most pleasure, what will make you the most happiest in the most authentic way, the most conscious way as well.
Yeah, in like a sustainable, long-term
Yeah.
manner versus these fleeting pleasures. And I feel like it's like a drug addict. They're always looking for the next fix of, that little dopamine hit of what's going to get me that little bit of excitement. And I notice too, it's like I'm learning all these things, and then I'm like, okay, well, I brush my teeth. I'm putting on an audiobook so I can study more. And it's like, if I'm learning all these things and seeing that my wants are the thing that are disturbing my peace and constantly on that hamster wheel, then it doesn't really make sense to put on the audiobook. Like, can I just be with brushing my teeth? And I feel like you and I talked about that before with Epicurus, saying that if we're focusing on the necessary and the natural desires of like, I'm hungry, and like, wow, I got to a point where I was hungry. It's a little bit of pain in there. Like, now I had a couple strawberries, and like, wow, that the taste was amazing. It's like, if we're on this hamster wheel of always needing more, it's almost like when you get addicted to drugs. It's like right away, it's like one joint, that's enough. I'm totally fine. Next thing you know, it's like, I need 5 joints. And I almost seem like that's the same way with life and pleasure. It's like, yeah, it was so exciting to get a new car, but now like it's all, that's just hedonic adaptation. Now I want this, and now we need to go on a vacation. And it's like, I think that constant seeking is like the thing that's like exhausting us, and it's making all these regular things that would be pleasurable, it's just making them boring and dull. And so I find, as I'm intentionally severing myself and coming back to these little tiny small things, it's like, wow, I'm getting so much pleasure from the moon shining in through my window. Like, how cool is that? That's no energy source. It's like free light. Like, I just couldn't believe how excited and happy that made me. And I was like, this is the pleasure that comes from the simple things that I've been missing.
Oh, good, yeah. Like, I think that all the time. I'm like such a like simple person in terms of like what brings me the most happiness. But there was a time where I was like very deep in my breath work and meditation. So I was doing like breath work in the morning, breath work at nighttime, and my meditation. So it's like 20 minutes, like in the morning, 20 minutes at nighttime. And it goes back to that video about, like, what are we escaping from? And for me, like meditation and breath work, I was really escaping. I was really like, fucking fix my life up. You better fucking sort my life out. And I was like constantly going away and doing it and like really escaping with it, and like having these like insane, like meditations that I was like, I don't know where I went, but I went somewhere else, and I was addicted to that hit of like, I just want to go escape. And I had this one meditation, I just couldn't get into it, and I kept on like being like, come on, like it's so easy for me to like go into this state where, like I'm somewhere else, and I just couldn't. And they reckon that, with meditation, there is so much of it that the lessons will come through your life. You're like, that's how you learn. And I was like, oh, whatever, they'll come through my meditations. I'll have some, profound insight that will come through to me. And it honestly took that shitty meditation for me to be like, oh, the meditation is actually real life. Like, it's not, I shouldn't escape this. This is where I'm supposed to be. And then I really started noticing about like doing a meditation, and then just like letting the meditation flow into life, and just being like, this is the teaching itself, that I'm just supposed to appreciate life for what it is and not have an expectation with it. And like once I let that go, like I think every meditation, whether it be shit or like incredible, it's giving me something, but I don't have to escape it anymore. It just becomes life.
Damn. Yeah. That's a good lesson. Yeah, because it's like new meditators. They sit down and it's like, I can't make my thoughts shut up. It's like, yeah, but that's not really the point. For me anyway, it doesn't seem like the point. It's like just to see what is happening. Just to notice what is
Yeah,
happening rather than trying to control it.
exactly. And that's the greatest piece of advice that I would ever give, is like, I think when people go into meditation, they're like, oh, but I don't have, the visuals, or I don't get these insights, sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, we're not supposed to all the time. We're just supposed to sit with it. It's going to be uncomfy as hell. Your back's going to hurt. Your knees are going to feel like, they're going all numb. You're just like, oh, I could be doing a million other things. Sit with it. Literally sit with it. And just let the thoughts not be something that, you like putting on to weight. Just let them float by. And then you just watch your life afterwards, and you're like, oh, this shit's potent.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's just
know we're
a
coming
lesson.
close to the end here. But I remember
Oh,
you
yeah.
asked me about meditation, and it's that same thing. It's like there's so many other things that seem more important. It's like I could be spending this time, editing the podcast or working on the website or reading about, philosophy or something like that. It's like, but all those things are taking me away from that place of peace, of that place of contentment of where I want to be. So I probably need to dedicate, at least 10 minutes or something like that, to meditating, because I do feel like it's so worthwhile, and I do want to disconnect from all these wants and desires and stuff. Start scaling those back. So I feel like meditation is going to be a big piece of that.
Yeah, there's like, I've got a book over there. It's called, I'll show you it. It's like AYP, but like I showed you, it's like question and answers. And in every single one of it, at the end, he just puts, the guru is in you. And I love that quote, because it's like, you have all the answers. You literally have all the answers. You can be searching for all these answers, but like it's within you, and it's within you with stillness. And I've never truly believed in that. I've never really like understood it, because I'm just such a, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, piece of candy sort of person. But honestly, the stillness is like, oh, this is where we're supposed to be. Because once you're in a place of stillness, like you move so differently. You move so differently of like how you react to people, or how you like show up for people, or who you are. You're just in such a flow state, and that's like a place where I don't think many people are. And I think that's where your best decisions and your best sort of truths come from.
Yeah.
So do it. Do 20 minutes every morning. I swear to God, nothing. You don't need like any, like turn your fucking phone off. Have no distractions, right? 20 minutes. Just sit down. If your back's sore, just like sit up on a chair. 20 minutes, right? And every time you have a thought, just say, I am. Like within yourself, I am. I am. I am. And literally, it will just bring you back. And honestly, the greatest meditations are so simple, because it's just like, all right, I'm just in the flow. And then 20 minutes is up, and you're like, sweet. And you're like, oh, wow, I feel good.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good.
All right. I'm going to try it. I have been, if I wake up at 4, I make myself stay in bed till 6. And I'm doing the severed thing. So I'm like, oh, you're severed. You don't know anything about all of your business stuff. You don't know about life. So you don't have anything to think about. You just lay here, fall back asleep if you can. And then from 6 to 7, I'm trying to stay on Do Not Disturb, don't even pick up my phone because I'm going to want to get wrapped up in stuff, just brush my teeth, do my morning stretches, and that would be a good time to meditate too. So I'm moving in that direction, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it'd be so good. Like, I'm a sleeper. Don't get me wrong. I'm such a sleeper. So I'll just like always want to have a sleep in. But I notice when I do a meditation in the morning, everything flows differently. There is something like, it's just like, I feel like there's like a buzz. There's like, it just feels like everything in life just has this like beautiful buzz to it. And you're just like, oh, that's nice. Could be like someone just like stabbing someone down the road. But it's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, look at
They
nature.
care enough. But yeah. Wow, this is lovely. Shark attack. I'm like, oh, nature.
Yeah,
I know,
so
but
beautiful.
it's good. Yeah, I know. I just hit that. Actually, sorry, I've just hit my microphone, but it's okay now.
All right.
But yeah, do it. You have to do it.
All right. I'll do it. All right. Well, thanks
Yeah.
for the chat today. I really enjoyed hanging out, and
Thank you.
yeah, I'm looking forward to our next one.